ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to 5 Minutes of Math. This is Mr. Longswip. Thank you for joining us one more time. And we're going to start off with a problem that looks like the exact same thing we did last time. This is the distributive property, and there's distributive property everywhere this evening. So let's look at this inequality. 7 times 3g minus 9 is greater than or equal to 6 times 5g minus 6. All right, so what we have here is a left-hand side distributive property and a right-hand side. So let's break it down. 7 times 3g is 21g. 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. We're multiplying the outside terms by the inside terms. Now that 7, that's our outside term in orange. The 3g and the minus 9 or negative 9, those are our inside terms. Now we figure out the other side. We have 21g minus 63 is greater than 6 times the quantity 5g minus 6. So 6 times 5g is 30g. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. So multiplying your outside terms by each of your inside terms. All right. So we've taken care of that left and right hand side. So we've simplified this problem to look like 21g minus 63 is greater than or equal to 30g minus 36. All right, and what happens next is that we have to use the addition property of inequality. If you notice, we're adding 63 because it cancels out that negative 63 on the left-hand side. So since we're adding 63 to the left, see that the first blue underlined 63, we have to add it to the right-hand side. So negative 36 plus 63 is 27. So our problem becomes 21g is greater than or equal to 30g plus 27. Now, we've taken care of that. Now we've got to get that g term on the other side. So we're going to subtract 30g from both sides. So 21g minus 30g is negative 9g is greater than 30g minus 30g, 0, plus 27. So it's just negative 9g is greater than or equal to 27. Now, we divide both sides by negative 9. And whenever that happens, see the red star, we have to reverse our sign. So it goes from greater than or equal to g is less than or equal to negative 3. All right. So just be careful about those signs. Be careful about where your terms are. And if we graph this, there's a closed dot on negative 3, and we graph all the way over to the left. Now, I am going to do something a little bit different with the remaining 4 problems. You all are used to me color coding each of the different parts. I'm going to try to do this without the color coding, all right? So just make sure that you pay attention and try to see if you can see what I'm talking about without the colors involved, all right? So listen to the explanation and watch the problem, okay? Because I want you guys to become the mathematicians that I know you are, all right? Now, this is number 16. Negative 4 times the quantity 5m plus 9 is less than or equal to negative 2 times the quantity 8m plus 6. So, the distributive property goes on our left side. Negative 4 times 5m equals negative 20m, and then negative 4 times 9 equals negative 36. All right, so we're multiplying that negative 4 on the outside by each of our inside terms, 5n and positive 9. So the problem becomes negative 20m minus 36 is less than or equal to negative 2 times 8m plus 6. Now we have to take care of that right-hand side. So we have here negative 2 is our outside term for the right-hand side. So negative 2 times 8m is negative 16m. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Now our problem is simplified to negative 20m minus 36 is less than or equal to negative 16m minus 12. What do we do next? Now we've got to start combining terms. So let's see what happens. We're going to add 36 to both sides. And that see that negative 20m minus 36? We're going to add 36 to cancel that side out on the right. So since we do it on the right, we have to do it on the left. Negative 16m minus 12 plus 36. And that's the addition property of inequality. We're going to add the same thing to both sides. We have negative 20m is less than or equal to negative 16m plus 24. Now, negative 20m plus 16m is less than or equal to negative 16m plus 16m plus 24. We're going to add 16m to both sides. Now, in this particular case, because we have that negative 16m term on our right-hand side, we have to add again. Sometimes you have to add twice in a row to get your terms to where you want them to be. So in this case, we have negative 4 is less than or equal to 24. Last step, divide both sides by negative 4. And since we're dividing by negative 4, we're going to have to reverse that sign. M is greater than or equal to negative 6. That's a closed dot on negative 6. Graph all the way over to the right. All right, so that is number 16. We finished with that problem. All right, so number 17, we have 9 times the quantity 3x minus 8 is less than 3 times the quantity 7x minus 8. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the distributive property, but on the the left-hand side. So we're going to have 9 times 3x and then 9 times negative 8. So 9 times 3x is 27x. 9 times negative 8 is negative 72. Negative 72. All right, so then we move on to the other side. And we're going to multiply 3 times 7x and then 3 times negative 8. 3 times 7x is 21x. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. All right, so we're multiplying those outside terms by our inside terms. So our problem now becomes 27x minus 72 is less than 21x minus 24. Now let's see what we have to do to combine those terms. Are we going to have to add and subtract? Are we going to have to add twice? Are we going to have to subtract twice? It could be any combination. I want you guys to be ready for it. So the first move we're going to make is to add 72 to both sides. And that becomes it becomes 27x minus 72 plus 72. That's additive inverse to get rid of that negative 72 is less than 21x minus 24 plus 72. That becomes 27x is less than 21x plus 48. That 48 comes from 72 minus 24. All right, and that's the addition property of inequality. And it turns out in this case, we're going to have to subtract. That's our next move to get that 21x term out of the way. So 27x minus 21x is less than 21x minus 21x plus 48. On that right hand side, that positive 21x cancels out the negative 21x. So we have 6x is less than 48. Divide both sides by 6, and we do not need to change a thing. 6 is positive. The only time we reverse the sign is when we're dividing by a negative number or multiplying by a negative number. So we have x is less than 8. So what does that look like if we decide to graph it? We have an open dot sitting right on the 8, and we graph shade all the way over to the left. That's about the size of this. So we have 2 more problems left. Y'all continue to hang in there, and we will get through this. And again, it's just a matter of taking it step by step and being patient with yourself. Like I said, this is just like basketball, football, or any other kind of practice. You have to keep practicing this until you are comfortable with it. So here's 10 times the quantity 2n minus 5 is greater than or equal to 2 times the quantity 7n plus 11. So what do we do first? We're going to take care of that distributive property on the left-hand side. All right, so 10 times 2 equals 20n. 10 times 2n equals 20n. And 10 times negative 5 is negative 50. So that takes care of the left-hand side. All right. The only thing we have left is the right-hand side as far as the distributive property is concerned. So we have 2 times 7n, and that's going to give us 14n, and 2 times 11, which will give us 22. That's the right-hand side. Now comes the fun part where we get to combine all our terms. All right, so here we go. The first move we're going to make is to rewrite the problem. We're going to write our problem without any parentheses and without any distributive property issues. So we have 20n minus 50 is greater than or equal to 14n plus 22. So we have to move our constants without variables onto the right, and our variable terms, the n's, onto the left. So what do? We're going to add 50 to both sides. So there we are, 20n minus 50 plus 50, they cancel out, is greater than or equal to 14n plus 22 plus 50. Now, when you put that all together, that's 20n is greater than 14n plus 72. All right, it's greater than 14n plus 72. Now, watch your math, watch your terms. Here's our next step. We have 20n minus 14n is greater than or equal to 14n minus 14n plus 72. What are we doing? Subtracting 14n from both sides. And what that's going to do is move our n term over to the left-hand side. So what we have is 6n is greater than or equal to 72. So now all we do is divide by 6. So we have 6n is greater than or equal to 72 divided by 6. N is greater than 12. Now what does that look like if you decide to graph it? Well, it looks like this. There's a closed dot sitting right on the 12, and we're going to shade that all the way over to the right. And that's pretty much the size of this problem. Okay? All right. So having done that, let's move on to the next one. So if you stuck with us this long, we are now on the last problem. This is number 19. So 3 times the quantity 6a minus 8 is less than 4 times the quantity 5a minus 4. This is our starting point. What's the first thing we're going to do? The distributive property. So that's 3 times 6a, which is 18a, and then there's 3 times negative 8, which is negative 24. And that's the first portion of this problem. So we have 18a minus 24 as our left-hand side of this problem. What do we do next? We take care of the right-hand side. So we have 18a minus 24 is less than 4 times the quantity 5a minus 4. So we have 4 times 5a, which is 28, and then 4 times negative 4, which is negative 16. All right, so we're multiplying those outside terms by the inside terms. Now, we rewrite the problem, and that just makes it simpler to keep track of where your terms are. The last thing you want to do is lose a term because you're trying to take shortcuts and not write out all of the steps. So what we have here is 18a minus 24 is less than 20a minus 16. All right. What we're going to do now is move our terms around so that we can finally go ahead and solve it. We're going to add 24 to both sides. So we're going to end up with 18a minus 24 plus 24 is less than 28 minus 16 plus 24. That's the addition property of inequality. All right, and we end up with 18a is less than 28 plus 8. That's negative 16 plus 24. If you turn it around, it's just 24 minus 16. Same thing. All right, moving on to the next step. We now have 18a is less than 20a plus 8. We're going to subtract 20a from both sides. And yes, we can do that. Let's see. We're going to have 18a minus 28 is negative 2a. And the right-hand side is going to cancel out. Positive 28 and negative 28. So it's going to be negative 2a is less than 8. All right. Last step, divide by negative 2. Now, you know if we're dividing or multiplying by a negative, what's our rule? We got to reverse that sign. So that goes from less than to greater than, and a is greater than negative 4. Okay, so if we're going to graph that, what does that look like? Well, let's take a look at that. We're going to have an open dot sitting right on negative 4, and we're going to shade all the way over to the right. Okay, and be careful about how you write your number line when we're talking about the negative half of the number line. That negative half goes negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0. Then we start counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. All right. Okay, so that's about it. If you've hung in there with us this long, thank you so much. I'm proud of you, and I will talk to you in 24 hours. Take care.